Diving is an art form. A diver is, in effect, painting a visual picture for the spectator. One might think of the diver's body representing the artist's brush. His style and technique are the coloring, and the dive performed is the basic design. Every movement made must be directed toward a smooth, aesthetic performance. Grace and beauty are the most important qualities a diver can possess. No one else has done more to develop those qualities to their present art form than Dr. Ron O'Brien, 6-time U.S. Olympic diving coach and 10-time outstanding U.S. senior diving coach. Ron O'Brien's students have won 152 gold medals in Olympic, world, and national competitions. Assisting Coach O'Brien will be Kent Ferguson, U.S. national champion and World Cup silver medalist, Wendy Weiland, Olympic bronze medalist and World and Pan American Games champion, and Jenny Kime, National Junior Olympic champion.
Diving techniques are often misunderstood and misinterpreted. This instructional series will explain and demonstrate the correct techniques and concepts needed to improve diving performance at all levels. I hope this information helps each of you to reach your potential as a diver or coach. Good luck. A key foundation of good board work, takeoff, execution of dives, and entry into the water is correct body alignment and balance. Kent demonstrates here the typical incorrect alignment of the hips, rib cage, and head, with the balance maintained back on the heels instead of over the balls of the feet. In order to achieve correct position, the hips should not be rotated downward, but in an upward direction to eliminate a lower back arch. The hips should not rotate upward so much as to cause the knees to bend, but just enough to create a straight line in the lower back area. Let's look at this position more closely. Downward incorrect rotation, correct upward rotation. The rib cage should be lifted to an upward and forward location to straighten the upper back. The head and neck must be drawn in to align with the spine. Finally, the center of balance should be shifted forward over the feet. Correct body alignment and balance create an aesthetic appearance as well as improved performance, resulting in higher judges' scores. Watch Kent as he uses this alignment throughout a forward approach and dive. It is an integral part of the stance and walk, the jump into the hurdle, the position at the top of the hurdle, the takeoff, the dive position, and the entry. With body alignment as a foundation, let's analyze the most difficult skill in diving to master, the forward approach. Whether using a 3, 4, or 5-step approach, the fundamental principles to be followed are the same. Since the 4-step approach is the most commonly used, it will be demonstrated here. Throughout the walk in the hurdle, the eyes should be focused on the tip of the board, since that is the target area. Just before landing on the board, the head moves to a level position as the eyes shift their focus to the water in the middle of the pool. The steps should be taken at a moderate speed of between 75 and 90 beats per minute, depending on the size of the diver and the diver's preference. The first 3 steps are of approximately the same length and are performed by placing the heel down first and rocking forward onto the ball of the foot. The body balance is maintained forward over the front half of the feet during the steps, and especially in the last step before the hurdle. The last step is about 1/3 longer than the other steps. The foot can be placed on the board either with the whole foot at one time, as demonstrated here, which is the preferred method, or with the heel first, as in the first 3 steps. Do not place the foot on the board with the ball of the foot first, as this is like hitting a brake pedal. It will stop the normal movement of the diver to the end of the board and will likely result in either poor balance or an incorrect body position. In order to time the arm swing properly and to always be in phase with the steps, use the following method. During the first step, the arms remain still at the sides. As the second step is taken, the arms swing forward, a foot to a foot and a half in front of the body. The only difference between the 3, 4, and 5-step approaches occurs at this point. In the 3-step approach, the arms perform this forward swing on the first step, and in the 5-step approach, this movement occurs on the third step. As the feet contact the board in the third step, the arms swing behind the body 1 to 1.5 feet, and timed so they have completed this motion before the foot is placed on the board in the 4th step. The arms then begin their forward and upward movement into the hurdle as the foot contacts the board in the last step. The arms and hurdle leg lift upward as the knee and hip joints of the drive leg flex and the body weight drops into the board. Then the drive leg and hip joint extend so that as the toes are leaving the board into the hurdle, the arms are in a parallel position above and slightly in front of the head, and the hurdle leg is held at a 90-degree angle with the thigh horizontal and the lower leg vertical. The ankle joint and toes are pointed. As the body rises from the board, the hurdle leg begins a smooth and gradual extension, so the legs are together with the toes pointed at the peak of the hurdle while the arms remain still. As a general rule to aid in proper arm timing into the press, as soon as the body begins to drop toward the board, or within the first few inches, the arms begin a gradual backward and downward circular motion. Notice that the diver bends the hips and knees and draws the toes up so the landing occurs on the balls of the feet. The arms are timed so they are passing the hips when the feet contact the board. While the body flexes and the body weight drops into the board, the arms continue their forward and upward swinging action. About abdominal to chest height, most divers have some bending of the elbows to accelerate the upward arm movement. The body begins to uncoil as the arms move upward to the overhead takeoff position. The board then recoils, propelling the diver into the air. Let's watch as Kent, Jenny, and Wendy perform the forward approach again for you. In order to perform the correct approach and learn control of the takeoff, practice the approach with forward jumps from the 1 and 3 meter boards. This drill is an excellent test of your balance and technique. To spring the board backwards, there are 2 types of press recommended. One for the beginning diver and one for the intermediate advanced level. The beginning backward press is called the 2-part press because there are only 2 directional movements. The diver stands with the heels slightly higher than the board level, with the body aligned and the arms hanging naturally at the sides. The line of sight is toward the back of the springboard. In the first movement of the press, the arms and ankles move in an upward direction. The arms lift laterally to a position approximately 45 degrees above horizontal and slightly in front of the body line, while the heels are lifted to their highest position. This is called the top of the press. The arms then circle down and back as the body flexes at the hips and knees and the body weight begins to drop. At the end of this squatting motion, the heels are kept above the board level and the arms pass by the hips. This is the bottom of the press. When the arms begin their upward swing, being kept parallel and as straight as possible, although some arm bend will occur as in the forward press, the body extends and the board recoils to propel the diver into the air. A good drill to determine if your distance is correct is to try to touch the board with your fingertips as you pass it. If you can accomplish this easily, your angle of takeoff is right. Here, Jenny and Kent demonstrate the same two-part press again with the touch the board technique. When the diver's skill and balance are good with the two-part press, it is time to introduce the four-part press. The beginning position is the same. However, in part one of the press, the heels are lifted upward while the arms remain at the sides. In part two, the heels begin to drop down to the original starting position as the arms are lifted laterally and slightly in front of the body line to shoulder level. This part is called opposition because the arms and ankles are moving in opposite directions. Part three involves continuing to lift the arms to an overhead position approximately 45 degrees above horizontal and slightly in front of the body, while the heels rise to their highest point. This position is the same as in the two-part press, as is the final phase when the arms circle back and down and the body drops into the board for the spring and takeoff. Study the four-part press by Jenny, Wendy, and Kent, and practice it with the backward jump and touch the board drill from the 1 and 3 meter boards. The 3-meter back jump is an especially effective training tool for developing good press and takeoff actions. There is one basic preliminary takeoff position common to all takeoffs. Both divers and coaches need to understand what this position is, be able to visualize it, and continually practice to achieve it. The next series of dives will illustrate this preliminary takeoff position for jumps and somersaulting dives in all four directions. Here is Kent doing a forward jump. The preliminary takeoff position is assumed when the board is at its lowest point of deflection. The arms are above and in front of the head, while the hip and knee joints are still flexed. Although this position may vary slightly from diver to diver and dive to dive, it is virtually the same for all takeoffs. Let's identify and study this preliminary takeoff position for dives in the forward, reverse, backward, and inward directions. The most important concept to understand here is that not only are the arms above and in front of the head before the legs are fully extended in the jumping action, but also before the board begins its upward movement. The differences in balance and takeoff which occur after the preliminary takeoff position is achieved will be described and demonstrated in the section concerning somersaulting optionals.